here's the one upside. The one upside, even if everyone does come in, if you've already had a splash of fuel, theoretically, your pit stop would be a little bit shorter, and you can pick up some track position there.
Excellent point. And don't make light of what you just said with that. That is how this game is played. Just because they don't have to spend that extra half a second of fuel putting in it because they have more in there. That's the difference of getting track position on these street races. That little minute detail. That's why you're the professor.
Dario has led all the way so far since the drop of the green flag. Ryan Hunter-Reay, who had a great run last year at St. Pete, is running in second position. Tag, TK, and Weldon are your top 5.
You know who's breathing a sigh of relief is Tagliani, because he was taking a lot of heat and said the car was going loose. Perfect time for a pit stop.
Target Chip Ganassi Racing is in its 20th season of open wheel racing, 7 championships, 74 wins, and 2 victories at Indianapolis. Now the pits are open, but remember now, the entrance to the pits is beyond those first 4 corners after the start-finish line.
And you have the start-finish line, which is the concrete section, which is the front straightaway. But like you said, you have those corners, and then you have that long pit straightaway that's in front of the pits. So it's kind of a unique sequence of where the start-finish line is at this racetrack relative to pit road.
Right.
It'd be very interesting to see how many peel off.
I'm peeling off.
I fully expect the majority of this front group will all pull off. When you get down to 8th, 9th, 10th, then you wonder.
So you're saying Dixon and Wilson and Briscoe. You know what? Briscoe's going to stay out.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
But they also could go for the quick pit stop. We'll see.
Cars move through turns 1 and 2. Now a little bit of straightaway down to 3 and 4. And then after they come out of 3 and 4, you will see them dart sharply into pit lane.
And this is the pit window. We are in a real pit window for this first stop.
Yeah.
We're in the front end of it, but we're in it.
Okay, there's the entrance to pit lane.
They're all coming in. Anybody staying out?
That looks like part of the race circuit. That's pit road. Okay, there is
Tagliani. He's a new team, so he's not going to have the same pit selection. Mike Conway.
Wilson.
Jack, down to you for the pit stops.
As the pit stops continue to take place, one of the things you were talking about, how fast they are on pit road. Remember that they're able to go as they go to the tires and they finish their work on Ryan Briscoe. They're able to go open until they get under the bridge. The pit speed limit does not start on pit road, guys, until you exit the tunnel that is the bridge overtake. So they've got room to make hay, even though they've committed to the pits. But by the way, Jan and guys, I kind of like the call that some of the others made by staying out.
Like Simona De Silvestro, who now takes the lead. There weren't many. Who else? Is she the only one?
I think so. Yes, here comes Dario.
Well, she's going to lead her first IZOD
Good for her.
Race.
First race, and she's a leader under caution here at Sao Paulo, Brazil, in the Sao Paulo Indy 300. Stay with us for more on Versus. Back at Sao Paulo, Brazil, and look at the weather over to the left of the racetrack. It rained earlier, and Jack, is it going to rain again, or is that moving away from the track?
I got to tell you, Bob, I'm starting to feel like the hippy-dippy weatherman here. Remember George Carlin? Take a look at all these red cells. Now, again, this is Sao Paulo. This has been coming in at a pretty rapid rate, and I want to show you the thunder clouds are already developing up over where the Sambadrome is, where the start-finish line is, and all these pit crews have seen it. Thus far, thank God, have not seen any lightning.
And I also have an update when we were at that break. Simona De Silvestro actually pitted on lap 20. So she is back on the same sequence. She doesn't have to pit in a few laps. She can go all the way to the next window like everyone else. So she's actually leading this as a true leader because of some clever pit work. And look at this race off the pit road.
Yeah, Kanaan gains a position. Tagliani loses one. Briscoe, the big gainer, along with Will Power. So Simona Di Silvestro, in her very first race, leads. Can you tell me who was the most recent driver to lead in his very first IZOD IndyCar Series event? You don't have to go back that far. Like 2 years.
Ray Hall?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And before that, Patrick Carpentier. Simona Di Silvestro. You survived your first test.
I was about to push the button on that. You know, you didn't push your button. You just yelled out, "Play by the rules, man."
By the way, we talked with Graham. For those of you who did not see our qualifying show yesterday, we talked with Graham by phone, and he confirms that he will be in the Sarah Fisher car 2 races prior to Indianapolis, and hopefully we'll have something full-time by that time. It was good to talk to Graham yesterday and know that he's got something in the works.
And pretty confident. He's been very happy with what he's seen over at Sarah Fisher Racing. I mean, he was excited about the opportunity. He's going to do some testing with them prior to showing up in St. Pete, which is really important to get that chemistry going with that new team.
So now you're doing your first race. You look in the mirror. You got Dario Franchitti behind you,
right,
as well as everyone else. You like getting the radio call. Okay, you're going to take the green. You got Dario behind you. I mean, that you go, wow. Am I dreaming?
I was in Sebring when Simona was doing her first test, or her first time in the IndyCar, and you could just tell when you went around and watched the corners that she was driving the car. The car wasn't driving her. You know, she was putting the car on the racetrack where she wanted to put it, in the proper point braking, going in, turning in, apex, track out. So she's holding that end of it up. Great job.
And Elio on pit lane once again. See what they do here for Elio in the late stages, hopefully, of this yellow period.
Going for the
Puts
front
the
wing.
reds on.
Now, is this a play with regards to the weather that's coming in, cooling off a little bit right now? We know it's going to be raining later. Let's get out and use our reds now until that rain hits.
That's, I believe, a case of just wanting to replace the front wing, and they've already lost a lot of track position in pitting anyway. And if it does rain, you certainly don't want to be missing a piece of that front wing. You need all the downforce that you can get.
But also go to the reds, because if we see the rain's coming, we shouldn't save these to the end. Let's use them now, because we're going to have to put our rain tires on later.
We'll be going green this time around. The lights atop the pace car are out. And so Simona Di Silvestro, who is last year's Formula Atlantic champion, moving into the IZOD IndyCar Series, will lead them to the green flag. And the IZOD fastest race lap so far has been turned in by Ryan Hunter-Reay with 1:29.9.
Well, so what that tells us, Jan, is we know he didn't have as much, he had more downforce in his car than Alex Tagliani when he was racing, but that downforce obviously pays off through the corners here, but also when you have to have downforce to give you grip and acceleration onto these straightaways, that's a better trade-off than being trimmed out for speed at the end of the long straightaways.
There we go.
Apex Brazil restart, back to competition. Let's see how Simona handles the situation as they race down into turn 1 as Paul Blevin gives the drivers the green flag.
He's working that green flag too, wasn't he? Putting the power down. You see Simona, just that rear end. I'm going to put that power down.
Boy, her heart rate had to be pegged coming up there to get that green. Once she gets down through her first couple corners, she'll start to settle down. Once she realizes they're not going to gobble her up too fast. But Hunter-Reay is after it.
Yeah, and look at the gap that Simona has back to Dario. She's got breathing room. Just concentrate now on what's in front of you.
Simona is from Switzerland and has really established some great credentials in the Atlantic Series.
4 wins, 4 poles last year she had.
And Ryan Hunter-Reay is just all over the back wing of Dario.
Yeah, he's all over him like a cheap suit.
Simona now lives in Scottsdale, Arizona. Lots to the, actually Tagliani's an Arizona guy too as well.
So here's the run through turn 10 onto this long back straightaway. So let's size up the downforce package between Dario and Hunter-Reay.